Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Doug here. Welcome back to our playthrough of Myth Dark Frontiers. We're about to get started. In the last episode, we set up the game and got everything ready for play. In this episode, we're going to get down to the gameplay itself and have some fun with it. It's a pretty cool game. We'll see. I set ourselves up in a way that may impede us by not taking a acolyte into the party. I want to see what would happen. I can't imagine you have to have that, but it seems like a very powerful character, and I kept turning up faith-based things that we need to do as well, which kind of concerns me a bit, but we'll see how it goes. I do, however, need to make an adjustment. I don't know how game impacting it is or not, but I'm going to do it. So, you can see that all the spaces have these little flame bursts right here. Those are specifically for placement of things. So, and tells you how many players we have. So we have a 3-player game. So remember when I placed the objective tokens down that we need to complete, I placed them kind of where I wanted to, but you really can't do that. For example, this one says 4. I really need to place this one up here where it has 2 because that is specifically for a 4-player game. I did the same thing with this dungeon right here, and it should actually be up at this one here. And then I don't know that I did that for the blue ones. I don't think I did. I think we're okay there. We are. So I just want to make that quick adjustment and let you know that before we started. And now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty and start working on the gameplay. Now, one of the things I can tell you about this game is it's pretty straightforward, and on the back of the book, conceptually, the basics are very straightforward. The nuance and all the rules, things that are missing from the rules, some rules don't explain themselves very well. Anyway, we'll see what that looks like. But anyway, we have the phase chart here, and we're going to start with our planning phase. It says hero and enemy cards are assigned to action spaces and is shuffled separately. So here's what we're going to do with that. Now, the first part of that is we are going to take the enemy AI cards, which are right here. We're going to give them a quick shuffle. And you can see way up here on this side of the board, you have morning action, day action, night action. We're going to take this little shuffled deck, and we're going to go 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Now, these 2 will remain here in this order and will be at the top of the deck for the next day that when we take our actions. Now, what we have to do is each player then goes and places one of their actions morning, day, and night as well. So we're going to do that. I'm going to talk about the 3 that we're going to place with each of the characters. Now for our apprentice, what I'm going to do is move our apprentice into a place where we can start to build some fortifications. So the first thing we're going to do is travel. And I'll go over these cards in detail when we play them. Then she's going to fortify, and then she's going to encounter the space. So how that works is we're going to take the travel action, we're going to plop it into here. Now, the other players, you can talk about what, if there are multiple players, you can talk about what you're doing. It doesn't say it's restrictive in any way. Then in the day action, she's going to fortify, and then at the night action, she's going to have an encounter. And where's she planning to go? Well, she's planning to go to this sanctuary here and fortify that. So we'll see how that works in a moment. Next up, we're going to go to our brigand, and for our brigand, we're going to travel. Then we're going to have a battle because we're going to move into a space where there's an enemy, and then we're going to fortify. Now, the thing is, we don't know what order these cards will come out because we're going to shuffle them, so we don't know who's going to get to go when. Hopefully, in this case, our brigand gets to go before the enemy does. That'd be very helpful, but we'll see. Our soldier is going to do the same thing. Travel, battle, and fortify. So we're going to travel. Now, I'm still very new at this game, so strategizing is going to be something that we are going to be dealing with as we go. So we have our cards set up right there. The next thing that we do is we take each of these. We're going to take the morning one, and we're going to shuffle them. We're going to shuffle all of them, but we're going to then start taking the actions that we're going to be playing. So let's get started on that and see how our first day goes. First day, first turn, guys. Again, I did a test run of the game, so I understood it mechanically. I watched some playthroughs. I got it conceptually. We'll see how this goes. It may not go as well as we like. And hopefully we get a lot of our objectives completed and stuff like that. I'm still shuffling these for no reason. We'll put them right down here and we'll get started. Okay, first up, we're going to flip this card right here, and it is going to be our brigand. Our brigand is going to get to travel. That is awesome because I did definitely want the brigand to get moving. And so how does this work? Let's take a look at the details of a card now. So before we have to take in this bar, we see the thing that we have to do when we play the travel action. We have to travel or re-roll any 2 fate dice. We're not going to worry about that. But we can use a arcane symbol to move 1 minion from an adjacent area to any other adjacent area. We're actually going to do that. So as you can see, so we can do that prior. So what we do is we take the arcane action right here, and we're going to take this minion and we're going to move it to there. And it says, is it any area? Yeah, from any area to an adjacent area. So we're going to move. We use some arcane roguish power to get this skeleton to move to the ruins. Okay, then we're going to take the second part of the action, which is to travel. So we're going to leave Farron Rock, which we have them on the tile right there for Farron Rock, and then the brigand will move to here. Now the brigand's still in shadows. However, we can lose shadows to deal 1 damage to an enemy in your area. Well, we're going to do that as well. So we're going to lose our shadow token, just temporarily, I'll put it right there for now, to kill one of these minions. And that's it. It's just gone. We defeated it. And then it says, now we didn't have to spend any dice for that. We just lose the shadows. But then it says, I can spend a guile die to gain shadows. So the brigand moved into the area, lured some skeletons into the ruins, snuck into the area, killed one of the skeletons. The other one saw him, chased after him, but then he or she was able to slip back into shadows. That's a pretty effective turn. So then what we do is so that we know this is played, then we're going to place this right here to indicate that this card has been used, or the brigand's action is done. But then we have to do the part that I don't like so much. And that is, we're going to roll the 2 fate dice that we used and put it back in the pool, and hopefully we did, unfortunately, get darkness. So hopefully the enemy doesn't go next, because I can tell you right now, this is only on one of the sides of the dice. And in my test run, I rolled it 5 times, 3 to 5 times more than the other playthroughs I saw. So get ready for devastation. Just be prepared. Okay, but that's our pool right now. This doesn't do anything right now. It does something if the enemy card comes up. So hopefully one of our cards, the odds are for us, but we'll see. Okay, good. We're getting our, I don't know if this is going to help us because we may not be able to get rid of this die, but we're going to travel with our soldier now. Now the soldier, who is also in Farron Rock, is going to move out and is going to go to the location just north of the city there. Now let's take a look at this card too and see what they can do. Discard 1 fury to deal 1 damage. We don't have any fury built yet. And we can spend an arcane symbol to move 1 minion from your area into an adjacent area. We don't want to do that, so we're not going to spend those 2. Then we traveled, which we successfully did. Then we can discard 1 fury to resolve a battle action by spending a rage die or gain 1 fury. We're going to do that. So we're going to spend one of these symbols here to gain one of our fury tokens, which will help us later on. But that, of course, means that we have to roll that die. See, I'm telling you guys, it's 1 in 6 chance. All of these will be darkness in no time at all. That's just my awful luck in this game so far. But anyway, this gets set aside next to this to show that the action was completed. And now we're probably going to draw the bad guy's card and get some real bad... I was right. Okay. So let's go over the anatomy of this card. Scheme. Resolve active quest scheme effect, then move captains, then spawn defeated captains. Well, we don't have any defeated captains, but we are going to do this. So let's take a look at this. Raise despair by 1 for each captain in a ruins. Good news is there are no captains currently in ruins. They're all in the Outlands. So we don't have to worry about that. And then it says to, I'm going to take the action cards off the board for a moment. It does say to then move the captains. Well, there's a pecking order for movement and how that works. Now, we're only moving the captains. It specifically says that. So how we do that when we're doing a move, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, we're going to look at this chart, and you see that you start from the inner circle and go to the right, then to the second circle and go to the right, and then we're going to start way up in the top left-hand corner and move the captains. Now, the captains are going to do one of a couple things. They're going to move towards a fortification objective, and there's a priority for that as well in movement. But they're typically going to move towards something useful. So in this case, especially since it's equidistant, this captain would move to there and move to that dungeon where there is a thing that we have to do, but also heading down towards Farron. Now, since we haven't put up any fortifications, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be important for that. So it's heading toward Farron, but it would move to that spot there. Then we go to the other one. That one way up here is going to do pretty much the same thing. It's going to move to that dungeon right there. And then you notice that that would have been a logical thing, because it says if they had moved to to ruins, if they had gotten all the way to the ruins, we'd have some problems. This one actually, it looks like it's going to move. It'll move toward the village. That seems like, because that's where all the happenings is. So it moves into that village right there. And that is that part of the. So we did the scheme, and then we moved the captains as part of the scheme. Okay. Then we spawn defeated captains. Remember, we're a 3-player game, so there aren't any defeated captains. Now we resolve these 2 darkness tokens. Okay. For each hero must change 1 fate dice to rage if there is 5 rage in the fate pool. After resolving this ability, each hero suffers 2 damage. Well, there won't be. That's good. And then, now we can't do these. Okay, can't do that. Yeah, hold on. So you can see that each character would have had to... I mean, this is probably about the worst start I could have had, guys. But we're going to keep playing, because guess what happens? I do this darkness one, right? Well, guess what? I couldn't convert. There was already 1 rage. So it says to rage, if there's 5 rage in the dice pool, the fate pool, there's not. After resolving this ability, then so this one actually gets resolved to rage. So okay, so we got lucky. Here's why. Now you see that. So we had 1 rage already in the pool. We have 3 characters. So 2 of them got resolved to rage. And I guess because the way this states it, and this is where things get mucky in the rules. It's not clear. Now typically I would resolve both of these, but it says each hero must change 1 fate dice. It doesn't say it can't be changed from darkness. Now I would do it last because I think that's the right thing to do, but then also it would become rage, right? Now that means that there is not another die that I have to interact with, so that ends that. That's it, as far as I can tell. So I have 4 rage in the pool, but because this is the one I activated and I have 3 characters, I don't have to activate the second one because I changed it to rage based on this. That's the way I interpret this card, so tell me if I'm wrong. It does not say, and I looked in the book, it doesn't say you can't, if you don't have an option to do that. And it does say change 1 fate die to rage. It doesn't say not another darkness die, so I did. If there is 5 rage in the fate pool, and there's not, we're not going to take the damage. But we do have nothing but rage in there now, and then we get to re-roll this die because it triggered. So we have 4 rage and 1 guile. Well, that's not going to be very helpful. And then this siege effect is not going to take place either. It says if each captain is in a quest location, each hero suffers 1 damage. Well, we're not in a siege state, so we don't have to worry about that. That means we just discard the scheme for now, and that's it. Okay, so we have 1 last card to go, and that is our Acolyte. Now, our Acolyte had some plans, but looks like they're not going to go the way I wanted. I was hoping to at least be able to roll 1 Arcane or something so I could draw a spell, but the first thing we do is we can travel or add a spell card from the discard. We don't have any of those. So once again, we're going to travel out of Farron. Here is our lovely lady. She's going to travel to right here, where she's going to do that. Now, she can move 1 minion from your area to an adjacent area. There's no minions where she's at, so we don't need to spend that guile die to do that. And that is going to end her action. And that it basically ends, guys, all of our daytime, our morning actions. That's it. So I won't always explain these in this much detail, but since this might be the first time you're watching it, maybe you didn't watch one of the playthroughs, I'm going through it in more detail than I would. And by the way, again, I wouldn't call this a completely blind playthrough, but I'm going to make mistakes, so please let me know what I did so I can help correct it. And we're going to move on to our day actions. We'll shuffle those up real quick, and we'll start to take them as well. Now, this should be another active turn. I mean, that was a pretty crazy turn for our first turn ever. 2 darkness symbols come up, and we have to... just awful. Anyway, let's see what we get first. So we get the enemy card first, and this is what I said I didn't want to have happen, right? This says Sinner's Sorrow. Devastation. Raise the devastation track if applicable, then spawn minions. In addition, perform a muster for each rage in the fate pool. Did you just see that? This game is conspiring against me. Okay, let's go through this step by step. Raise the devastation track if applicable. It is. So we raise the devastation track by 1. It doesn't do anything yet, but it is going up. Remember, this kind of times some things that are going to happen in the game. Okay, so the next thing that we do in that is we then spawn minions, and that's going to be in each of our supply locations. So we're going to take 3 minions because we have 3 supply locations. Those are the red ones, and we're going to plop one in each of those. Now, that means we have 3 total in here. We're okay still. It's not delayed, sorry. We have another one in there, and then we have one down here. But that's not the end of the fun, because then we get hosed, right? We get hosed. Now, luckily, there aren't any darkness left, so we don't have to worry about that. But then it says perform a muster, and that means that we're going to roll fate dice and spawn these into the outlands, depending on what the dice are rolled, and those then will become the new spawn. So this is kind of good and bad, or bad, really bad with kind of a minor silver lining to it. So we're going to perform a muster for each rage in the fate pool. Well, we can see that there's 4 rage in the fate pool right now, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those and we're going to roll them one at a time. Let's get the minions out. So we're going to need 4. Okay, there's our minions. We'll take this one, we'll roll it. It's going into the rage pool, and that's going to stay a rage. So the symbol, the rage symbol on the outlands, there isn't one. What happens if they don't roll one? Oh, I guess it goes right here into the lair. I don't know. Let me check. It's supposed to go into the outlands when you muster, but I'm going to double check the muster rules. Okay, so actually we're supposed to roll all of these at the same time. So let me just roll them all and get them out of the way. So we're going to be, here's how this is going to roll out. Okay, so we start with the outlands. We don't have an outlands rage because it doesn't apply. So we're going to put 1 there in the lair. Then we got 2 symbols. Oh, and if we didn't have enough dice to roll, fate dice to roll, then it would have caused more problems. But we're okay there. We're putting 1 in the area where there's a faith symbol. That is going to be right here in the corner down here. I think you can see it. Yeah. Right there. Yeah. Okay, and then we got 2 that are going into the arcane area up here. Okay, so there's the massive amount of minions that come out, but there is our new fate pool. That's actually not hurting us too badly. I mean, we got a lot of minions out, captains and all. We're going to have to be doing a lot of stuff. And that was, of course, the first card. Now, we're not in siege, so we don't worry about that. And darkness, it says if there are 2 or more enemies in the area, but we don't have a darkness die out at this point. Woohoo! A little bit of a break. So that is going to get discarded. So we had our scheme and devastation come out so far for the enemies. Now let's draw our next card for the daytime action to see who goes next. It's going to be our lovely lady of sorcery, the apprentice. Now, I asked for some names. I haven't committed to the names yet. I think I got 1. So guys, if you want to pop in and give me 3 names, and you guys can vote on them too. Just thumb up if you like the names you're seeing there. Otherwise, I'm probably going to, I got 1. I'm going to take that 1 and we'll run with it otherwise. Okay, so first thing we look at, do we want to do this? You may heal 1 damage or draw 1 new spell card, but I'm going to have to spend the faith to do that. Yeah, let's do that. She doesn't have any of her spells yet, so we're going to spend a faith to do that before we do the fortify. That means, I'll just give this a quick shuffle. I haven't shuffled the spell deck up again, just so I have some randomness. And we're going to get the first of her spells. It's called Reservoir of the Ancients. See, it's a spell. It has her symbol on it. Before you resolve an action, reroll any number of fate dice in the fate pool, or before you resolve an action, you may turn 2 fate dice in the fate pool to the result of your choice if you suffer 2 damage. So this is one way we could use her spell to get rid of some darkness dice, for example. Okay, so we did that. Then we're going to fortify. What does fortify mean? Well, it simply means that we're going to pick up one of these tokens and we're going to place it there. So there's now a fortification in this village. We've helped build a small palisade maybe around the village, some forts, something like that, that are going to help protect the village. Then we can spend an arcane die. It says you may turn a fate die to darkness to return 2 spell cards in the discard pile back to the spell deck. We're not doing that. So the only die that we spent on her turn is going to be that die. We're going to discard that. We'll put it in her pile. She can use them again next turn. Then we have to reroll this, and we got a nature. Okay, that's fine. All right, that was her entire turn. So she got into that space, got to the village, put up a fortification. Now fortifications are important because in the beginning of the round, when we're setting up the next day, we're going to get supplies from those, and it's very important for us. Okay. Now, let's see who goes next. It's going to be our rogue, our brigand, who is going to battle. So, first thing we can do is we can spend a rage die to deal 1 damage on an enemy in your area. I'm not too worked up about that because we have a rage die. I kind of want to leave it for our soldier. We only have 1 in the pool. Then we can lose shadows to gain 1 additional d10 when resolving this action. In addition, ignore 1 damage dealt to you during this action. So, now, I think I did share with you in the first video how attacks and damage work, but I don't know. Well, we could do that because we also have 1 guile die. We could gain the shadows back. So we're going to do that. We're going to spend our shadow token again, right? And we're going to do this. We lose shadows to gain 1 additional d10 when resolving combat. So there's only 1 enemy there. Now, normally we'd only roll 1 die, and we really don't have to do that. You know, I'm thinking about it. The defense of this thing is 2, and it has an attack value of 2. We're very, very likely just to kill it with 1 die. Let's do that. I'm going to take a chance. I'm not going to burn, because I don't want to spend the rage. And then we don't have to spend the rage die either. Let's see what we get. This game is out to get me. Out to get me. Okay. I only needed to roll a 2 to kill it, and I managed to fail. In addition, because I rolled under the creature's attack value of 2, the brigand took 1 damage and did not kill the wimpy skeleton that was there. And now I have 7 damage. That's noted by this damage token right here. I have 7 damage. Man, wow, unreal. Okay, well then, I could have used that guile die to regain shadows, but I didn't do that. I really thought we would have that in the bag. Little did I know. Alright, well let's move on. We're going to go to the soldier's card now. Now, the soldier was also battling this turn. We're not going to take as many chances. Okay, so we can move a minion from an adjacent area to your area by spending a guile die. We are going to do that. That's why I didn't want to spend this die, because our soldier, who's way up here, has 1 minion there, but we're going to draw this other minion from there to there, and that's what it says we can do. Move one minion from an adjacent area into your area. So we drew in this skeleton, then we're going to battle the skeleton. So right now we can battle, which will mean we're going to roll 2d10 against 1 for each of the minions that's there. We can also gain a fury for each enemy defeated. If we do that, we'll just see how it goes. So right now we're just going to roll some dice and do some battle. Now, I think we just leave that there until we're finished with our turn. But let's see what we get. We get a 4 and a 1. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. Well, we managed to destroy or kill 1 of the minions, but we took a damage as well, because we can't roll above 2s very easily. All right, and that's it. So that is that. Now, we did kill a minion, so we can't gain another rage token or fury token. Then we can discard a fury token to deal 1 damage to each minion in your area. Guess what? We're going to do that because I want this other minion gone. There. So we managed to do that as well. Now, why am I saying that? Because it says it right here. Discard 1 fury to deal 1 damage to each minion in your area, and that comes last. Remember, you do these in order. Okay. Then we're going to re-roll this, and we got another rage. That's fine. And that is going to end our daytime actions. Wow, right? We're having the best luck ever in a game. You know, sometimes my luck goes up and down. So far, this has been a hard start. Mitigating some things, but typically this has not been good. So now what happens? Well, we moved to our evening actions, night actions. We're going to shuffle those up real quick, see what we get. And let's see. Boosh, what do we get? Okay, so it's the soldier. The soldier is going to fortify. So we can fortify or gain 1 supply. We're fortifying because that puts fortification in those ruins right there. and gives us another place to get resources from. Then we can spend a nature die. You may re-roll any number of fate dice. Not worried about that. We can discard 1 fury to choose a hero. The chosen hero may resolve a battle action or gain 1 fury. So we can spend a die. Discard 1 fury to choose a hero. Okay. The chosen hero may resolve a battle action or gain 1 fury. That makes no sense to me at all. Why would we discard a fury to... Oh, or I can either do that or gain a fury. I have 1 fury token. I could gain 2 fury tokens after doing the fortification, or I can let the rogue take another shot at killing that skeleton and drain my fury. Now, I do have a captain and another guy coming up on me, but I think we're going to do that. We're going to spend the last of the soldier's 3 rage to give the brigand an opportunity to kill this skeleton. We rolled a 9, thankfully, no damage, and the brigand was able to attack, spurred on by the powers of the warrior. But that cost us 1 of our rage dice, so we had to spend that. And since that ends that action, we're going to re-roll it, and it's a nature. And that is going to mark the end of the soldier's action for this turn. That's going to be, and by the way, the end of his actions for the day. So pretty good turn by the soldier overall, even though had to do extra stuff to get rid of minions that we shouldn't have had to do. But as a result, we did clear them out. There's just so many minions coming our way. I wanted to make sure, because there's an overrun thing where if there's 3 minions in a space, they start overrunning and it gets worse and worse for us. We don't want that, so I'm trying to clear some of them out. I've managed to do that a little bit. Okay, let's move on then to our next card. It is going to be our sorceress, our apprentice. Okay. Encounter. So we agreed that we're going to encounter this turn. We can spend a rage die to suffer 1 damage to gain a resource of our choice. We are not going to do that, but we are going to encounter the village. So here is the village deck. I'm going to give it a quick shuffle. Now I won't be shuffling it again after this. It's just going to stay as it is because, well, I guess it doesn't matter, but we're going to see what happens. We found a person. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so we found Nikki. Now, Nikki is a person that we met in the village. To recruit Nikki to our cause, which we're going to have to roll, we need to roll a tactics die. Now, we know that our apprentice is not good at that. But if we do succeed, we gain Nikki as an asset. Her ability is you can discard this card to ignore the effect of that reduces stability. Ignore 1 effect. So that stability is when Farron Rock starts to lose its pieces, basically becomes unstable and damaged. Or we can exhaust this card when you place a structure in a village to gain 1 influence. That's pretty cool. I definitely want this to happen. Can I do anything that will help? I cannot, so it's just going to be a random die roll. Again, our apprentice only has a tactics of 1, and fate has not been that kind, so we have to roll a 7 or better. That's pretty rough. Oh man, we rolled a 9. That is outstanding. You still can't see it. Let me make sure it's in the view. We rolled a 9. So we actually acquired Nikki. That is pretty cool. So this will go with the apprentice. Now, this is a good time to update some comments, or update with a comment rather. You can have a total of 3 assets. That could be a person, an item, anything. We can have a total combination of 3. So right now, our apprentice has 1 in the ally, Nikki, that is now joined her in her adventures. So that was our encounter. Now, at the end of that, we can also spend an arcane. Since you may turn 1 fate die to darkness. I will never, probably ever try to do that. To return 2 spell cards. I mean, we may find a need for this at some point, but we're not doing it this turn. So that means that her 3 actions have been taken so far this turn, and that is going to end our apprentice turn. We didn't spend any dice, so we don't have to roll any dice. Actually, wasn't too bad for our apprentice gaining an ally. Let's see what comes up next. Okay, it is going to be our brigand. I love the artwork on these two. It's pretty cool. Okay, it says we're going to fortify, which you kind of knew was coming because this was the turn for us to fortify and gain resources. If there are 2 or more enemies in your area, lose shadows to gain 1 supply. There's not, unfortunately. There's no enemies. We killed them all. Fortify or gain 1 supply. Well, we're going to fortify. And then we can do this to deal damage to an enemy in our area. We can spend a rage. There are no enemies in our area. Or we can use a guile, which we don't have, to gain shadows. And we don't need to because we're in shadows. So that is going to end the turn of our brigand. So you know who's next, right? The bad guys. Yes, and they're going to march. Okay, it says Faith of the Fallen. March. Resolve an assault on in Farronrock and each area containing a structure. Well, so good news is we took out all the enemies in areas where there is a structure. Okay. Then move minions. All right, well, you saw that movement chart. Now it says, when it says move minions, I don't think that means captains. I'm going to double check that, but I don't think it means the captains. I think it just means the minions. Now, if a minion is in a space with an objective or a fortification, it will not move. So we're going to take a look at that. We start on the inner ring of the board. There aren't any. Let me back up a little bit. There aren't any minions on the inner ring of the board. Then we go to the next, and we would start over here. There are 2 minions here, but they're in a space with a objective, so they are not going to move. Okay. Then we have this one here, and it is in an objective area, so it will not move. Okay. Then we come back around here. We go again. We're doing the second row, so this one will move to this objective area. That's because it's always going to move inwards if it can. I'm assuming that would be the smart move for the beastie. This one then would also move into here. That would make some sense. Okay. This one here then would move to here. This one will not move. This one in the outer region, I missed him. Well, we haven't done the outer region yet. This one here will move to the fortification. Oh no, it won't move because it's in an objective space. And then up here, what do? They won't move on top of each other to cause an overrun. It's only when you place minions. So let's take a look at minion movement. Enemy movement. During enemy movement, more than 3 minions may end their movement in Farronrock, of course, but let's look at this. Enemy movement is resolved exactly like hero movement. Minions cannot end their movement in an area already containing 3 minions. So one of these guys can move into here, because that puts 3 minions in the space there, which will do that. And captains, I don't believe, are considered minions. I'll have to check. No, there's minion, captain, boss. Okay. And then the next one there, what will it do? It'll hop. So what it's going to do, since it can't move into here, it can move into here and here, so I'll put it there. I think I get to make that choice. I'm not sure. If I failed that, if I did that incorrectly, let me know. Okay, so we did the minion movement for the march. Then we have darkness. Now, there's no darkness dice, so we're not worried about that. And then we have siege. Well, there's no sieges either. That's good too. So that ends the enemy card. They just moved. A lot of movement. But you notice that we moved some minions into some areas where we have fortifications. And we have a trouble spot up here that might cause an overrun that we have to take care of. I think we need to get our somebody over there to deal with that. Probably the apprentice. And what I want to do is kind of surround the town of Farronrock with fortifications. I didn't want them too far out. We still want to place fortifications next turn, but I think we got to do some minion clearing in the next day. Speaking of which, that was a pretty. I think this is a pretty long episode. So I think what we're going to do here is now next turn. The other thing I want to do is have unfortunately, our apprentice, who's only got 1 faith, or 1 spirit rather, try and take care of this. Or I guess no, actually, our soldier could do it. Do a quest in the ruins and try and take out that quest. The soldier has 2 spirits, so that's better. Anyway, like I said, I think we're going to end it here for this episode. It'll give me some time to see if there's any feedback on anything I may have done wrong. Because like I said, while I did play test the game out and watch a couple playthroughs of it, I am not going to be perfect at it yet. I haven't played it enough to be perfect. So let's see how it goes. Now, again, I've watched quite a bit of it, so I think I'm okay. And I think on this turn, the only thing that I may have done that I think might need to be taken back is moving that minion into the sanctuary, so I kind of spread them out a little bit. That's the only thing I can think of, but we'll see. So, guys, because I may have had to move it here, it might have hopped in here with him, but I don't think that's the case. I think we get those options. Because it literally, if it hops this direction, it could go in either one of those in my mind. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I hope you are enjoying this so far. We got off to a really bumpy start, but I see it improving. We got an ally for our apprentice in Nikki, and we got a whole bunch of things going on. So, guys, please, I want to name these guys: the apprentice, the brigand, and the soldier. And I do have 1 person that gave me names, but I was looking for, hopefully there might be some more and some votes on it if you want. But let me know what you think, guys, and if I don't hear anything back, I'll just name them from the first one that I got. And I'll see you in the next episode. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, I appreciate all that you do and all the attention that you give to the channel. Talk to you next time, and we'll see you soon.